Nano Machine. By Hanjung Weolya. Chapter 23, The Second Test, Part. Chun Mukiam, the prince from the loyal clan. His loss shocked the 6 students beyond belief. The boy who had no internal energy just 2 weeks ago now had a martial arts skill that easily exceeded theirs. Why? You want a piece of me too? Chun Yowon threatened the students and they all shook their head in unison. Yowon just defeated Mukiam, whom all 6 of them combined couldn't beat. Then take him with you. The 6 students ran up and grabbed Mukiam. Although Mukiam lost to Yowon, they were still fearful of the loyal clan. If I gain my own forces, will they fear me like that too? Yowon thought as he looked at those students. Mukiam was lying down because of his pain and he was also embarrassed about being helped, so he shouted angrily as he pushed the students away. Let me go. I'll walk myself. But Prince, don't make me say it twice. Students then let go of Mukiam and he shouted at Yowon, why aren't you finishing me? Mukiam hated Chun Yowon, but he knew Chun Yowon had the same amount of hate since he was always in danger ever since he was young. However, Yowon decided to not kill Mukiam by changing his chop to just pinning him down, and that made Mukiam feel like he was being sympathized. Yowon answered, if the second test was not a group test, I would have crushed your head already. The 6 students became pale. It was an acceptable reason, but Mukiam still couldn't understand. Bah, a peasant with your reasons. If you keep on going with your jabbering, I might just crush your head. Then do it. You bastard. Ha. Yowon looked at Mukiam with a disgusted expression and made his way back to the dorm. While he was on his way back, he didn't look all that happy. I can't ignore the experience. He was able to fight well with Nano's help, but he realized he lacked experience. If it wasn't for Nano, he might have lost. It will take time for me to gain experience and those 6 clans will not let me gain experience easily. Therefore, I need to know how to utilize what I have first. Knowing about the battle tutorial would have helped him if he knew that before the fight. Nano. Yes, master. How many skills did I use from what you currently have? Nano kept showing him new abilities, but it was all due to the fact that Nano was only reacting to emergencies. Checking user data. Currently, Master has used 3% of the Nano machine ability. Chun Yowon was only interested in martial arts, so his usage was bound to be low. Nano's basic program was so vast that if all of it was used, it was enough to turn this age upside down. Nonetheless, most of it was locked in the program anyway, but Nano did not tell Chun Yowon of this. 3%? Yes, Master. I only used so little? Official records indicate that most users utilize 30% of the Nano machine on average. I'm sure there will be a lot of useful abilities. Chun Yowon then realized he had not been using the Nano machine to its fullest potential. Tell me about all your abilities. Understood. Transferring detailed user manual regarding the 7th generation Nano machine to the brain. Will you accept? Yeah. It will accompany the transfer of the English language education program for better understanding. Will you accept? Is it the language that you sometimes use? That is correct, Master. Yeah, okay. Nano then began transferring the information into Yowon's brain. It took quite some time since there was a lot of information, and when it was complete, Yowon did not feel nauseous or sick anymore. It seemed like his brain had now adjusted to the information transfer. He was only a little bit dizzy. As the dizziness faded, Yowon began to go through what the Nano machine could do. Can you do all these things? It was beyond his imagination. There were multiple ways to help Yowon fill the gaps for his lack of experience. One of them was the repeated simulation ability. So I can simulate battling others in augmented reality? Yowon was now able to understand the English words and other futuristic words. Yes, but it requires the analysis of the opponent's movements. Can I use Chun Mukiam's movements? There is a lack of information for the basic motion, but creating an avatar based on the previous battle record is possible. It wasn't perfect, but it was still better than nothing. Okay, let's try it then. Yowon then changed direction and went to a remote area with no one around. It was free time until nightfall, so he decided to train with Nano's simulation. Activating augmented reality. Creating an avatar for battle simulation. Nano's voice came and a light appeared in his eyes to turn into Chun Mukiam. Whoa! Yowon became astonished. This Chun Mukiam was the avatar that only he could see. Adjusting the simulation information. Please set the damage percentage that avatar can inflict on the user. Damage percentage? If you want it same as reality, you can set it to 100%, but you can set it lower to lessen the impact. I see. Then let's set it to 100%. He thought it wouldn't be too painful since it was still a fake. Yoan realized the hard way that he had made a foolish choice. Beginning the simulation. Chun Yukiam's avatar then smirked and yelled, "Peasant! Let's fight!" What? Chun Yoan was dumbfounded. He didn't expect the avatar to copy even the speech. He knew the avatar was fake, but it still felt irritating. I guess I can crush his head this time then. Chun Yoan then attacked and Yukiam's avatar attacked him back. It was the same attack that he encountered before. Yoan thought of how he dodged it with Nano's tutorial and sidestepped it to follow up with a butterfly blade dance attack. And at that instant, "You think such a puny attack will work?" Chun Yukiam's avatar shouted and twisted his body weirdly to dodge it. Then he kicked Yoan's stomach. Ugh! Chun Yoan fell with the strong pain in his stomach. He didn't realize it would give him such real pain. Ugh, how can it be this painful? Chun Yoan winced and Nano answered. Nano machine replicated the same amount of pain reception that Master felt earlier. Damn it. It was foolish to set the damage percentage to 100%. Will you change the percentage? No. Leave it. Yoan refused. He came to believe that such pain would make him weary of every move even if all of this was fake. Peasant! Come and get me! Yukiam taunted him with his fingers. Yoan then charged at the avatar with his blade skill. Chapter 24, The Second Test Part 2. Late at night, Yoan finished training with the augmented reality simulation and was on his way back to the dorm. He was exhausted from the 4 hours of training. Nano healed his wounds right away, but it still made him tired. I only won once out of the 15 duels. Yoan sighed. Without the battle tutorial, the first duel was over after 5 exchanges. Crush his head? I was so foolish. Nano's voice rang in the embarrassed Yoan's ears. Your ability will increase as you gain experience. Master's choice of movement and right skill will increase as you progress. He had lost 6 times straight in the beginning, but he began to react to Yukiam's attack starting from the 7th duel. Yoan was able to launch counterattacks that Yukiam's avatar could not react to starting with the 10th duel. And on the last one, he was able to win after 30 exchanges. But it was only a victory with Yukiam using only 3 of his attack skills. Chun Yukiam's avatar had limited actions because Yoan did not have all of the data, but it still was hard to defeat Yukiam. This made Yoan even more eager to train. Phew. I will defeat that avatar easily in a few days. Understood, Master. It was Yoan's first goal, but there was a piece of information that Yoan did not know. Chun Yukiam's avatar was created with what Yoan had experienced in the real battle, but Avatar Yukiam had full knowledge of what martial arts skills that Yoan could use. This meant that if Yoan achieved victory over the avatar that knew all of his movements and never got exhausted, that was a great feat already. As he returned to the 8th group's room, people fell silent. He's here. He doesn't even have any wounds. It was apparent that the other students had heard about what happened. It was enough to let the students know where Chun Yoan stood in power. However, they were still afraid of the loyal clan's power over the cult itself, so they didn't dare to walk up to Yoan and speak to him. As Yoan walked down the middle toward his bed, the students opened the way for him to walk past. This was a different feeling from the day he entered the academy when people looked at him with disgust or sympathy. Is this what it feels like to have power? He just had defeated one of the princes, but it made such a big difference that it almost made Yoan laugh out loud. Where's my bed? Yoan glanced around to find his bed, and someone came running to him. It was the 23rd cadet, with a blue cloth over his head. He politely pointed at the bed with both hands and guided Yoan. Your bed is here, Prince. Oh. The 23rd cadet was acting as if he were Yoan's servant. The other students became confused. What? What is he doing? Most students were confused, but for the 23rd cadet, this was his chance to take the risk. He was beaten in front of everyone for his failure and the promise to look after his clan was gone. Bastard! Chun Yukiam kept on saying that he was going to wipe out the 23rd cadet's clan when he got out of the academy, making the cadet even more angry. When he saw Yukiam appear 4 hours ago with wounds, he made his decision. If I'm going to die, I'll just take the risk. He then decided to stay on Chun Yoan's side for the competition of the heir to the throne. And with that decision, he was now thought of Yoan as his master. You aren't like what you were before. Chun Yoan knew that the 23rd cadet had changed after they met in the medical room. He wasn't just fearful of Yoan now. Do you want something from me? Yoan asked. The 23rd cadet hesitated for a second, but he soon knelt down with one leg and gathered his both hands in respect and said, "I, 23rd Cadet Hubong, will serve you as my master." Students murmured among themselves in shock, and Yowon was also surprised. He always thought he wanted a force for himself, but he didn't think it would happen so early. "You want me to be your master? I am sorry about my rudeness in the medical room. Please take me as your servant and let me serve you as my master." Yowon then began thinking. Unlike the guard Jiang, who was sent to protect him by the Lord's order, seeing Hubong, who wanted to become his servant, willingly fired something up within him. "Please, please." Hubong looked up at Yowon and he grinned and nodded. Hubong then bowed with his head down on the ground in excitement. "Thank you. I will serve you forever." And it was then. I didn't expect to see such crap. It was Chun Mukium. He came back together with Jiayun, who had finished his additional training. "You insect. How dare you pledge loyalty to a peasant?" Jiayun was tired, but he frowned and spat angrily at Hubong. This scared Hubong and he began to shake. However, he didn't move his head and only looked at Yowon, and therefore Yowon made a decision. Yowon's head turned slowly toward Jiayun. "You dare speak ill of my servant? What?" Yowon's cold voice shocked Jiayun. If it was the Yowon he knew, Jiayun would have charged to attack right away, but he had already heard that Mukium lost accidentally. "It is you who is the insect that follows someone's tail around. What did you say? What's with the stuttering? Are you afraid?" Yowon taunted and Jiayun became angry. "Peasant." Jiayun then jumped to attack at Yowon. However, Yowon twisted his top torso to dodge and struck the back of Jiayun's neck. "Arg!" Jiayun's eyes rolled back and he passed out. His attack, the basic fist skill of Loyal Clan, was what he had been practicing the entire evening that allowed him to do this. "He's nothing compared to the Avatar." Yowon mumbled and Hubong looked at him with shock and admiration. My decision wasn't wrong." He had his doubts, but watching Yowon put the subject of another prince in his place with that one attack made his doubt disappear. "What? You want to fight me again?" Yowon looked at Mukium, who was glaring at him at the entrance. However, Mukium did not react as expected. "Humph. You enjoy what you have for now. Nothing will change." Mukium then ignored Yowon and went over to his bed and laid down. Did Chun Mukium just ignore him? Impossible. Mukium's action astonished all the students. Mukium was known for his violent nature, but he just avoided fighting Yowon. And beginning with this, the 8th group dorm had changed. The students began showing interest in Chun Yowon. They didn't act like Hubong, but they now began to question things with maybe in their heads. Soon, it was the day of the second test. Every student gathered at the training ground, ready with their real swords and iron shields. Chapter 25, The Second Test Part 3. The second test was a battle between group formations. They had to compete with each other through the 12 formations that they had trained. It required each individual's cooperation and the leader's accurate decisions. "I have taught you enough. It's all up to you now. Is that clear?" Motto. Each instructor gave their final words to their respective groups. Beginning a few days ago, each group was led by their group leaders to practice the formations. Instructors were not that involved in the latter part of the training. "Before we go on to the next test, we will choose who to fight through the lottery." Left Guardian Li Hamming spoke on the stage. "As I explained earlier, 1st to 4th, 5th to 8th, 9th to 20th, 4 groups will pick from the lottery to choose which group to compete against." He explained how the test was going to progress 3 days ago already. As the leaders got up onto the stage, students began to mumble to themselves. The leaders of the second and third group changed. They changed too. The second and third groups had changed leaders. Other than Chun Muyin from the Wise clan in the first group, and the 72nd Cadet in the fourth group, the second and third groups had different group leaders. "Humph. 2 only?" Hamming, however, didn't look surprised. Soon, the battle was decided between the 4 groups. First versus third. Second versus fourth. Woaha! The first and fourth group shouted excitedly. As it had been decided, Hamming shouted, "Next. Leaders from the 5th to 8th group, please come up." The leaders of each group quickly came up onto the stage. People mumbled as the 2 groups had also exchanged leaders. The 8th group also had a different leader. "Oh?" Hamming looked intrigued. He thought the leader of the 8th group wouldn't have changed since it was Prince Chun Mukium, but it had changed to an unexpected individual. Chun Yowon. It was the black tag number 7, Chun Yowon. And the leader of the 5th group, Chun Wonryu of the Lust clan, was also shocked by this change. "I warned him so much. Fool." She cursed at Mukium. On the other hand, Yoan couldn't believe what had happened. He didn't think he would be chosen as the leader just up until last night. Last night, near the end of afternoon training, many groups left to practice for the upcoming test. Some groups did not do it since they were concerned that the other groups would peek at their tactics, and the 8th group was one of such groups. Chun Mukium, who did not lack in potential as the group leader, already decided on the tactics and dismissed his group early. Chun Mukium. And when Mukium was going to train his martial arts in a remote area, someone called him. "Oh, it's you." It was Chun Wonryu from the Lust clan. Mukium tried to walk past her, but Wonryoi quickly hustled over, blocking his way. "What are you doing? I called you. Can you at least stop to ask why?" Unlike Chun Yowan, the princes of 6 clans knew each other and interacted with one another quite often. What? What do you want to say? Ugh, you and your arrogance. Chun Wonryu sighed and Mukium responded grumpily. "I thought you said the loyal clan is stupid?" He still remembered the day he faced Yowan at the entrance to the dorm. Sure. Okay. I'll make this short. Listen up. She didn't like how Mukium was acting, but she thought she needed to say it and pulled up her sleeves to show the linen wrapped around her arm. Mukium asked, "Did you get hurt?" As far as Mukium knew, no one else could hurt her other than the princes from the 6 clans. "Yeah, yesterday." "Yesterday? I was training alone and someone ambushed me." "You? Ambushed? Who in the right mind would do such a thing?" Chun Wonryu was weaker than the princes from the 6 clans, but she was still much more powerful than any of the other students at the academy. The attacker covered their face. "I don't know who it is." "Whatever. So you were hurt by some puny coward?" "I warned you. I never lowered my guard." She was in the middle of her training, so she was well ready. Yet, the attacker was equal to or perhaps more powerful than the princes of the 6 clans. "So, you were hurt, so you're telling me to be careful? If the attacker came for me, they might attack you too. We are in the same competing group." Mukium frowned. "You know that the 4 groups will compete with each other, right?" "Yeah. We can always choose the lottery with all of the groups. Why do you think we are limited to 4 groups?" "What are you talking about?" "Gosh. Try thinking for once. If you narrow it down to 4 groups, then you can guess which group you might be fighting against." Mukium then thought for a second and said, "You mean that by spilling information, the academy is forcing each group to attack another group leader? Well, you really are stupid." "Yeah. If the leader is out of formation, it will be hard for that group to compete." Chun Wonryu guessed that Li Hamming had intentionally shared the information, thus making the group's attempt to attack another group leader. And her guess came true when she was attacked the other night. "Well, tomorrow's the day of the test, so don't take the chance to go train alone. I don't want to see any princes getting expelled after the 2nd test and bring shame to us all." She could have ignored it, but she came to warn him for old time's sake. Mukium nodded. And when she left, Mukium heeded her warning and took Jayun with him to practice. Near midnight, Chun Yowan finished his simulation training and was on the way back. "Ugh, I still have a lot more to go." Unlike what he was saying, he now had the ability to defeat the avatar about 60% of the time. He hadn't yet reached his goal to win easily, but he was now more used to using his blade skills. When he was going down to head back, he heard the sounds of a fight breaking out. "Ugh!" After hearing the short scream, he ran toward the source. When he got there, there was one figure slumped down on the ground and another one fighting someone else off. It was too dark in the forest to make out who was who. Nano. Turn on night vision mode. Activating night vision mode on the user's sight. The light exposure on Yowan's eyes increased immediately and he was able to see everything clearly. Chun Mukium? The one who was being attacked while barely fending the attacker off with wounds was Chun Mukium. He was fighting a masked man, but the man looked very powerful. He was pressing onto Mukium with a powerful attack. Damn it. Mukium's right leg was injured, but he was holding off quite well. However, it was just a matter of time. As expected, Mukium tried to take several steps back, but he fell down after losing energy in his leg. Ugh! The man then charged to stab Mukium's left leg and Yowan shouted, "Stop." He didn't like Mukium, but he couldn't bear to lose the group leader the day before the test and charged in. The man then stopped and swung the sword at Yowan. However, Yowan could see everything clearly, so he got down to avoid the sword and struck the masked man's stomach with his blade skill. After he touched the stomach, the masked man quickly retreated to put some distance between them. Yowan became surprised. He retreated the moment I touched him. It was hard to guess who powerful the man was. The man narrowed his eyes as he glared at Chun Yowon and turned away to flee. Chun Yowon thought of chasing after him, but gave up. Mukiam was on the ground, and another student was also on the ground with blood dripping down from the head. "Hey, are you okay, peasant? Damn it, how did I get attacked by some masked man? Should I just leave him here?" Yowon shook away his thoughts and helped Chun Mukiam and the other student quickly return to the dorm. Students of the 8th group fell silent with serious expressions as they saw their leader and another member with critical wounds. The student whose head was bleeding was Jaeyoon. As he wiped the blood off Jaeyoon's head, he asked Nano, "Is he okay?" Scanning the wounded entity. The doctor was out of the office right now, so he could only rely on Nano. Found cut made from a sword. 4 centimeters in length, 2 millimeters in depth. Requires cleaning of the wound and sewing of the cut. Contrary to his concern, the wound wasn't all that bad. The problem was with Chun Mukiam. Damn it. He was holding onto his right thigh as blood poured out. His face was also pale from losing too much blood. "Call an instructor." "Why yes, sir." Hubong quickly ran out of the room at Yowon's order. Soon, an instructor came and began treating Mukiam's wound, but it was pretty bad. He won't be able to walk for a while. The students' expressions turned grim. Chun Wonryu's warning had become a reality.